Minimalism teaches you to focus on what really matters to you in your life. This is something that you hear from every minimalist that you encounter on YouTube. And it's funny that almost every single minimalist loves having a cup of coffee first thing in the morning, and what they enjoy the most is decluttering. I may sound like I'm not one of them, but I definitely fit into these stereotypes of minimalists. My favorite thing to do in my life is decluttering. Somehow it has always been a part of me, and I realized that I was into decluttering even before I learned about minimalism. Maybe I was truly born to be a minimalist, you know? I believe Japanese people naturally have the ability to apply minimalism into our lives. Wait, if that were true, then we would probably work few hours and the problem of karoshi wouldn't exist, so I'll take everything back about what I've just said. Oh, by the way, if you don't know what karoshi means, then please Google it and find out the meaning yourself because it's a huge issue in Japan. Although I have been into decluttering, I've never been interested in decluttering tangible things around me. For me, decluttering has always been about getting rid of old values and acquiring good values that make more sense to me. Since I became a minimalist, I've been trying not to care about 3 particular values that I thought were important to me for a long time. So in this video, I'm going to share with you those 3 things that I try not to care about as a minimalist. Well, I would love to say things that I don't care about as a minimalist, but I'm still working on a lot about myself and I don't want to make myself look like I'm this strong minimalist when I'm actually not in front of you guys. Anyway, let's get started. Number 1. Following the trend. I guess if you're into fashion, then you might care about purchasing the latest style of clothes, or if you're into shoes, then you might collect a bunch of different shoes in your house. I don't know if you can relate to this, but for me, I never became obsessed with material things, but I was obsessed with the image of success or what life should be like for me for a long time. The trendy image of success for me was owning a nice car, a big house, and wearing nice clothes. I truly believed that being rich was the ultimate way to become happy, and I didn't realize that it was just a trend that many people were following without considering why we think having a lot of money can create happiness for ourselves. I do believe that money creates opportunities though. You see, without my family's financial support for me to study abroad in New Zealand when I was 15, I don't believe that I could have spoken English as fluently as I do now, for example. But money doesn't create happiness. I know people that are wealthy, but they live their lives as if they don't enjoy it at all. I also know people that don't have jobs that pay them a lot of money, but they live their lives with gratitude and joy. This is because happiness comes within ourselves, and it's not created by external things. But the majority of companies in media spend billions and billions of dollars to try to make us think that the form of success is established by the external things that can be accomplished by only being rich. Unfortunately, this attitude didn't work out for me. Once I finished university and started working for a company, I thought that I would be able to acquire these luxurious things by working as hard as possible and saving every penny that I earned by myself. Then I finally got to the point where I could afford some nice clothes that I used not to be able to purchase when I was a teenager. I went into this clothing brand shop called Ted Baker and finally bought a jacket that I fell in love with. When I bought it, I thought I was going to feel accomplished and happy for a long time, but these feelings went away quickly and I felt really empty. This is because I set the requirement for happiness as owning luxurious things, and although I got to the point where I could afford nice clothes, I couldn't still afford a nice house or an amazing car. Subconsciously, I set myself up for stress, discontent, and insecurity because I was worried about not having what I wanted, and was also worried that if I stopped working hard continuously, then I would lose what I already have. That was when I came across minimalism and found a quote that resonated with how I was at the time. One of the advantages of being born in an affluent society is that if one has any intelligence at all, one will realize that having more and more won't solve the problem. and happiness does not lie in possessions or even relationships. The answer lies within ourselves. If we can't find peace and happiness there, it's not going to come from the outside. Then I was able to revisit and question my old value, which was the form of success is accomplished by being rich, and that is the ultimate way to becoming happy. My state of mind shifted from I need to have more to I already have enough, so let's appreciate what I already have in life. Then I reached the feeling of contentment by downgrading my needs. It was as if the less I wanted, the more I had. I already had plenty, so I started caring less about gain and loss. Number 2, keeping up with the news. Since I started working for a company and became a so-called adult, I felt obliged to read or watch the news to keep up with the latest information about the economy, celebrities, trends, and so on. I thought this was a requirement for me to fit into the workplace or the society because it seemed like that's what the majority of adults talk about in their day-to-day lives. I mean, it's fair enough considering most of us work at least 40 hours per week, and what we can talk about is only limited to either something about work or things that are on the news because we don't actually get out of our routine of waking up, going to work, coming back home, watching TV, and sleeping. It's just unfortunate that we don't have much time to explore life in more exciting ways. As I spend time reading and watching the news every day, I noticed that the news was almost the same, talking about the speculation of the stock market, coronavirus, wars around the world, and domestic crimes, how this celebrity got married to this actor and actress, and so on. I was never particularly interested in the news because I had such small to pretty much no influence on what was happening around me anyway. For example, I'm sure you've heard others talk about how the government is doing such a terrible job of looking after their citizens and don't know how to spend our tax and so on. I'm not saying this is completely wrong, and it might be true to some extent. But for me, I've never felt comfortable giving opinions about things that I have never become or done in my life. I have never led a team of 5 people, or I have never had a person that I look after on a daily basis. So I don't know what it's like to lead millions of people, if that makes sense. So I would always be like, how can those people make such strong statements about things and talk about it like, oh, if I were a prime minister, then I would be doing better or blah blah blah, when they have never experienced what it's like to do that. And it just seemed like they always keep complaining about things, although they never do anything to make the situation better for themselves. My point is that I have never felt like I belong to many conversations that people are gossiping about on a daily basis because I always had many perspectives, but my opinions were not extreme enough to pick a side, so I would always feel like I was in a team of my own. Also, I couldn't care less about celebrities and who got married to whom because I have always been like, it's not my business. And yeah, people choose to be single, get married with whoever, or don't believe in marriage so they stay as partners, or some get divorced, and that's just life. There's no surprise in what people do because it's normal. Well, I went off track a little bit, but since I learned about minimalism and it taught me to focus on the only important things that matter to me, I figured that keeping up with the news was not crucial, so I decided to stop following the news. And a funny thing happened to me, which was that people around me started to tell me the important news that I had to know about Japan or the world. It's because if something is that important, then many people know about it, and you hear about those important things from others in conversations. Because I let go of feeling obliged to keep up with the news and trying to understand what is going on around the world all the time, I could learn to spend time on what I enjoy, such as reading and producing videos to learn about new things on a daily basis. Remember, if something is that important, then others will tell you kindly. Number 3, caring about what others think of me. This is probably the value that I'm trying not to care about the most, and I feel grateful because of it. To feel accepted is a nearly universal human desire. After all, we evolved to survive better in groups, where fitting in and having the trust and respect of our peers have been the measures of our success in society, and the need to belong is in our DNA. However, I believe if you care about others too much, then you sacrifice too much of yourself. I understand that we all need to care about others to belong to a group, a company, or a society. But you also need to understand that all of us have different perspectives and opinions about everything. But we as a society are amazing at determining what is common sense or rules for everyone, and we expect others to follow the same rules and dislike if anyone does something different. This phenomenon is particularly strong for Japan, where we live in a collectivist society where we care so much about others and prioritize others more than ourselves. From a young age, I would always question what people thought was common. As a matter of fact, I felt that I tended to become unhappy by following the rules and trying to fit into the society because I was killing my own personality in a way just to please others. I just didn't vibe with it, so I would often choose myself first, although it meant that I couldn't please a lot of people around me. But hey, I always thought that I couldn't make everyone happy. For example, I used to be told that eating while walking in public is rude when I was in Japan, but I never understood why. I would always be like, then why are there takeaway shops and convenience stores everywhere? And it's acceptable to drink while walking, but not eating. Why? What's the difference? And I had a lifetime opportunity to study abroad in New Zealand, and over there, nobody cared about whether you eat while walking or not. I asked one of my mates about it, and he said, "What's wrong with it? When I do takeaway, I want to eat the food while it's hot. I don't want to eat fish and chips when it's cold and soggy." That completely made sense to me. In this logic, people tell you what is common, but what is common depends on each of us. This is because some people may think that it's fine to eat while walking, which is their common belief, while others may believe in the opposite, and that's their common belief. So I think that the difference between what is common or not is based on how many people believe in the same things. In Japan, eating while walking outside seems like something bad or uncommon because more people believe in it more than the other way around. But it's not wrong to eat while walking outside just because my side of perspective is the minority. Because I believe that if I can get more people to believe it is okay to do something like this in Japan, then the perspective of eating while walking outside is okay will become something that is common among people. I feel like I repeated a lot about walking and eating just to clarify what I want to express, but my point is that you're never wrong just because you believe in something that not many people believe in. Yet again, I went off track, but my point is that I've always tried following my intuition and heart rather than imagining what others will think of me, because other people's opinions and perspectives cannot be controlled at the end of the day. Minimalism simply taught me to focus on myself and what is going on internally that can be controlled rather than the external things that are out of my control. I have always wanted to live a life that I can fully be true to myself. To accomplish it, I thought that the only way I would ever truly learn how to understand myself was through making my own decisions, taking full responsibility for them. In that way, if I do fail, at least I can learn from it as opposed to blaming somebody else. It's important to recognize that someone's opinion is often based on what they would do. This alone is the biggest issue. What is best for somebody can be the worst thing for us. What one person considers terrible can be another person's dream. We are all so unique and different. That's why I believe we need to take control of our life and keep trying to figure out what is best for us, because at the end of the day, nobody will ever be as invested in your life as you. That's the end of the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. If you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up, because when you hit the like button, the YouTube algorithm helps my channel grow and reach people who are interested in the topics that I discuss on my channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing, and I will keep striving to create videos that are worth your time. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!